Okay, just okay. All right. Well, I've been ready for a while. Just been listening to the two of you chat along. Yeah, yeah. All right. Good afternoon. Yeah, I know you're all here to see our friend Tom Fletcher, who will be joining us as our guest in a few minutes. Who, as you know, is our emergency relief coordinator and Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs. At 3 p.m., our friends from UN Women and DESA will be here to launch the Gender Snapshot 2025. We may have a background briefing later this afternoon, as I told you over the weekend, but details are still being worked out, so I ask for your patience, but we will let you know as soon as I know. Tomorrow, our guest briefer will be the Secretary General of the United Nations himself. As mentioned, he will be here at noon and on time. The press conference will be broadcast on web TV and YouTube and everywhere else, but we will not have a Zoom link. So if you want to ask questions, please try to be here in person. Starting with the situation in Gaza, and I can tell you that we condemn the deadly escalation of the Israeli military offensive, which we saw over the weekend across Gaza City, with scores of people reportedly killed or injured. As you can imagine, this is having an appalling impact on civilians enduring suffering and starvation. We reiterate our call for the protection of civilians and humanitarian personnel and full respect for international law. Yesterday, the Commissioner General of UNRWA, Philippe Lazzarini, said that in the previous 4 days alone, 10 of UNRWA's buildings have been hit in Gaza City. This includes 7 schools and 2 clinics used as shelters for thousands of displaced people. Consequently, Mr. Lazzarini warned that the exhausted and terrified civilians are again being forced to leave northern Gaza. People are fleeing using the Al-Rashid Road, which is the only route available for the moment to the south. And as you can imagine, as you've seen from footage, it is extremely congested, to say the least. Over the past few days, colleagues monitoring the movements of people in Gaza counted almost 70,000 displacements heading south, primarily to Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis. In the past month, partners observed about 150,000 movements from north to south. Yesterday, our colleagues at the World Food Programme said that forced displacement from Gaza cities exhausts families, resources, and disrupts their last lifelines. Without safe, sustained access, and the risk of worsening hunger grows, especially for children. Our partners report that 1/3 of malnutrition treatment facilities in Gaza City have already shut down due to forced displacement orders. Today, the Ministry of Health in Gaza said 3 more people died due to malnutrition and starvation over a span of 24 hours. Overall, the ministry reports that 425 people across Gaza have died due to malnutrition and starvation, and about 1/3 of that number refers to children. Our partners working in water and sanitation and hygiene sector have scaled up water production and are distributing water at reception points. They've also been able to increase the number of meals being provided in the last few days, distributing about 40,000 additional meals daily throughout Gaza. And as of Saturday, 558,000 daily meals were prepared and delivered by 20 partners through 116 kitchens. However, health services continue to be heavily constrained since clinics have suspended their services due to insecurity and displacement orders. In Deir al-Balah, more than half of the ambulances are now out of service, with a very limited number of ambulances to serve thousands of people. OCHA also reports that humanitarian movements inside Gaza continue to face impediments. Out of the 17 missions that our teams coordinated with the Israeli authorities, only 4 were facilitated. 7 missions were denied, including the delivery of water tanks to the north. Another 4 missions were impeded on the ground, but 3 of them were nevertheless accomplished. These included collection of fuel and food cargo from the Karim Shalom, Karim Abu Salam crossings. 2 other missions had to be canceled by the organizers. Our humanitarian colleagues continue to call for the unimpeded humanitarian access. Aid should flow at scale in Gaza through multiple crossing points into the south and the north. Additionally, our partners estimate that about 77% of the road network in Gaza has now been damaged, with Gaza and Khan Yunis governorates being the worst impacted. Turning to Sudan, first on the political front, the Secretary General's personal envoy for Sudan, Ramtam Lamamra, is currently in Port Sudan after concluding consultations in Nairobi. He's had a very constructive engagements with Sudanese stakeholders across the spectrum, as well as key interlocutors from the international community. This will help lay the groundwork necessary to support an inclusive process that can deliver a sustainable solution that preserves Sudan's sovereignty, its unity, and its territorial integrity. We look forward to working closely with the UN's regional partners, including the African Union, IGAD, and the League of Arab States, on the recommencement efforts towards an intra-Sudanese dialogue. Meanwhile, on the ground, the humanitarian situation continues to rapidly deteriorate in different parts of the country. Our colleagues tell us that in El Fasher, local sources report that heavy shelling and assaults late last week left at least 6 civilians dead and scores injured. The attacks also triggered further displacement. Essential services in the city are collapsing amid ongoing hostilities and lack of funding. Over the weekend, water trucking to the only functional hospital was suspended, while community kitchens have shut down due to depleted food supplies. Without urgent support, the most vulnerable people face severe hunger, even more difficult conditions than those they are currently experiencing. Meanwhile, heavy rains and flash floods continue to displace people, damage homes, and disrupt lives. Last Friday alone, over 4,000 people were displaced and 550,000 destroyed in Al Jazeera state. Many families still urgently need shelter and other basic assistance. In the capital Khartoum, OCHA last week saw how local authorities have made progress in restoring basic services and improving security. However, more than 800,000 people have returned to the city in recent months, still need urgent support to rebuild their lives. We call again for the immediate cessation of hostilities, the protection of civilians, the safe and unimpeded access for humanitarian goods, and increased international support to sustain life-saving operations across the country. And this morning, the members of the Security Council were briefed on the situation in Yemen, first by Hans Grunberg, our special envoy for Yemen, who said in recent weeks he held discussions with Yemeni interlocutors, including from the government of Yemen and Ansar Allah. He also met with representatives of regional countries as well as representatives of the broader international community. He emphasized in all his meetings the need for a nationwide ceasefire and an inclusive political process. For his part, Tom Fletcher, our humanitarian chief, who you'll hear from briefly, said that before February next year, 1 million people in Yemen are expected to be forced into extreme hunger, joining the 17 million Yemenis who have had too little to eat, which is almost half of the population in the country. Both, of course, stressed that the arbitrary detention of by the Houthis of 44 UN national staff, the forcibly entry in our offices, and the seizure of equipment endanger the very stability to advance peace efforts and deliver humanitarian support for those who need it. Those comments were shared with you. Turning to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, our colleagues at OCHA are telling us that we and our partners are supporting the government-led response to the Ebola outbreak in Kasai province. Data indicates there's been a sustained increase in suspected cases. As of yesterday, the province has reported a total of 43 suspected cases and 35 confirmed cases, which includes 27 deaths. Among the fatalities, 16 have been confirmed as Ebola virus. National health authorities are leading the response. Our partners working in health have also facilitated the early delivery of over 350 doses of the Ebola vaccine to the Bulape Health Zone, which remains the epicenter of the outbreak. We've also mobilized rapid response teams focusing on case detection and surveillance, clinical case management, infection and prevention control, and the risk communications and community engagement. Our health partners are mobilizing to contain the outbreak, but gaps in medical supplies and logistical capacity are hindering the response. Urgent funding for the Ebola response is needed. And you will have seen that over the weekend, We issued a statement on Haiti in which the Secretary General strongly condemned the reported killing of at least 40 people, including women and children and the elderly, during a brutal attack by armed gangs in the Cabaret commune of Haiti's West Department. This happened during the night of 11 September. The Secretary General expresses his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, the people, and the government of Haiti. He is also alarmed by the level of violence rocking Haiti and urges the Haitian authorities to ensure that the perpetrators of these and all other human rights violations and abuses are brought to justice. He also calls on member states to expedite efforts towards strengthening the multinational security support mission, which requires logistics, it requires personnel, and obviously cash, to effectively assist the Haitian National Police in addressing gang violence in Haiti in full respect with international human rights law. Turning to Ukraine, our colleagues in the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs tell us that hostilities are continuing over the weekend. Several civilians were killed and 40 injured in Donetsk between the 12th of September and today. Local authorities tell us that there is damage to nearly 190 civilian facilities in the region, including homes, schools, and a hospital. Hostilities have also continued in other parts of the country, damaging homes, farmland, and other civilian infrastructure. Nearly 5,000 people remain without electricity in the Zaporizhzhia region. Our humanitarian colleagues note that the continuing violence has forced more than 2,700 people to flee their homes between the 12th of September and the 14th. Humanitarian organizations are assisting evacuees at transit sites, providing hot meals, psychosocial support, and other emergency assistance. Some travel to announce by our friend Jean-Pierre Lacroix, the head of our Peace Operations Department. He is currently in the Republic of Korea and for today and tomorrow, and he will travel to China from the 16th to the 19th of September. In Seoul, he will meet with senior officials, including the Foreign Minister, Mr. Cho Hyun, and other representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of National Defense. Discussions will focus on Korea's important contributions to United Nations peacekeeping, as well as opportunities for future collaboration on peace and security, including peacekeeping. And in Beijing, he will participate in the 12th Beijing Xiangshan Forum, and he will also attend the 2025 Conference on Global Public Security Cooperation Forum, which is taking place in Liangyungang, highlighting China's ongoing contributions to UN policing and the importance of multilateral cooperation in addressing public security challenges. Today in Geneva, our friend Rebecca Greenspan, who, as you know, is the head of UNCTAD, delivered a message on behalf of the Secretary General at a special General Council meeting of the World Trade Organization. In the message, the Secretary General welcomed today's entry into force of the landmark WTO agreement on fisheries subsidies. Mr. Guterres said this is an agreement that is a vital step in protecting our oceans, advancing sustainable development, and called all to keep working to turn the tide towards healthy oceans, resilient communities, and a sustainable future for all. Today is the International Day of what, Edie? Democracy. It's a D. That's a good start. International Day of Democracy. In his message, the Secretary General says democracy is powered by the will of the people, their voices and choices. Just to flag that our friends at the UN Democracy Fund will host an event today at 3 p.m. in the Goals Lounge, which is by the neck area where the Express Bar used to be, to highlight how democratic participation can be transformed from voice to action. It will also be streamed on UN Web TV. Edie, yes, hang your head in shame.
Because Steph, is there